So I'm working on a project that has the connection of hip hop and skateboarding. And with that, I guess I have to kind of tell my story and how skateboarding and hip hop came to be for me. Um, I can remember the first time I ever got a skateboard. So I was 15, turning 16. I was a freshman in high school, and I was a late bloomer to this. Most of my friends that I hung out with that were skateboarders have been skateboarding since they were way younger, 12, 13. Um, but I get a job at Kentucky Fried Chicken, and I meet this dude named Derek Bessie, and he says, "I'd like to see you with a skateboard in your hand." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Where do I get one of those? Where do I go for that?" I don't know nothing. 15-year-old kid. I come from the Northern Cheyenne Indian Reservation, moved to Billings, Montana. I hung out with most of my brothers, and in this whole realm, this gangster world, and we were poor, and we just running the streets of Billings. Buddy says to me, "Go down to this place called Bo Energies, skate shop downtown." So okay, cool. Get my paycheck, go down there. And Bo Energies skate shop in itself, it was in a location that I kind of knew because it used to be a lowrider shop called Pitbulls. Well, I used to go in there and dream about the lowrider bikes because I liked that shit. And then, whatever. So I walk into this shop and I'm like, there's this like little Mexican dude in there. He's not as little as I think he is, but in my head, I guess back then I seen him as this little Mexican dude named Victor Hernandez. He's like, "What can I help you with?" I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, first time skateboarding. "Oh, so you need a complete deck?" "Sure, guess. I don't know." New to this, bro. And he's like, "All right, got you. Well, we're gonna start with trucks. You're gonna need a complete deck, so we're gonna need to start with trucks." So I would go with these Ventures. They're relatively good priced, great product. Boom, boom, boom. Throw some Reds bearings in them. He said, and he asked me, what deck do you like?" "What's a deck? What do you mean?" "Oh, skateboard, the board itself." "Oh shit, a deck. Okay, cool." I'm learning terminology at this exact moment in general. But he's like, "Okay," and so I pick out this blind deck. It's a Ronnie Krieger board. It's got a Grim Reaper eating a banana. Fucking by far the worst fucking skateboard I've ever had in my life. I'm kind of glad I took that board because it had no pop. It had no fucking concave whatsoever. I swear to God. I don't even know how the fuck Ronnie Krieger skated this thing. But I buy this deck. I come to work. And we would take these Ventures after work. And we would go downtown and skate. And I'm so glad that Derek Bessie was so patient with me because I couldn't skate. I didn't know. And it couldn't have been fun for him. Like, fuck, dude. Jesus Christ, I'm gonna hang out with this dude. This dude can't fucking skateboard for shit. But he hung in there and he watched me evolve and skate and learn to ride. And I'm like, okay, I'm actually starting to get this shit. Like, I remember the first moment that I actually ollied. And I had spent hours, I mean fucking hours, in my front lawn figuring that ollie out. And after I figured it out, I was like, holy shit. I now have to take this and do it on the concrete while I'm fucking moving. The fuck? I mean, I can do it, but I don't know if I can do it moving. And I must have skated up and down my street on Orchard for hours. In fact, so much that I remember once I actually could ollie and I could skate that fucking board. I was skating one time, and I kept skating this manhole drain, all in over it, all in over it, all in over it. Every time, just trying to get this down. And across the street was this dude, and I knew him, and I knew that he'd skateboarded, but I didn't really know him that well. But I knew him from other people that I'd known, that I'd gone to school with, from Southside streets, shit like that, you know. And his name was Jason Webb, and he came out and said some shit. He said, "I know what you're trying to do. You're just trying to get me to ride your skateboard." I was like, "No, man, I'm just trying to ride this fucking train. It just happens to be in front of your fucking house, and you happen to be a badass skateboarder. Whatever." And he, "Let me see your board," he says. Motherfucker, like, kickflips the fucking drain like it ain't nothing. Motherfucking asshole. You an asshole. Anyway, that was probably a big influential learning moment. But me and him would go on to be decent friends in general. Sold him a lot of weed. What the fuck ever, you know? But as things progressed in my life, and I started to realize that, like, I was never gonna be an amazing skateboarder. Like, I just wasn't. But I love the passion of it. I love the skateboard. I started to realize that that's a reality. So then I would fast forward myself. I'm about 19 years old. I get a job at this place called George Henry's. And the head chef's name is Jason Corbridge. We work with this guy named Sammy. Sammy's Asian and Polish. An amazing, phenomenally interesting dude who can build anything. And he built ramps and rails and all kinds of crazy stuff like that. And that was super dope for me. But I remember being in the kitchen, and I'm a dishwasher, and I'm washing dishes, and all I'm thinking about is, like, skateboarding and punk rock, blah. And these guys keep doing all this hip hop shit and talking about videos and tricks that that song reminds them of this trick that this skateboarder did. And I was like, what is all this? But in that kitchen and in that vibe and hanging with those skateboarder kids, like, realizing that, like, he turns me on to a bunch of crazy dope hip hop that really just, like, changes my world. Like, shit, like, I'm engulfed in fucking punk rock. But this shit right here is something different, and it's not gangster, it's not any of that, and it has its similarities to punk rock. And I was like, damn, this is interesting. So when I set out to do this entire thing, I thought to myself, like, how much influence did hip-hop have on skateboarding? Because I don't think the hip-hop world understood how much skateboarding how much skateboarding was influenced by the hip-hop world. And it would be until, like I said, I'm starting to sit down and do this documentary, and I started watching a 411 video. I think it was episode 38. And there's some great music in it. It's got a lot of Tony Hawk and Lance Mountain, and it's interestingly weird in that sense, because I understand how they were relevant to it, but then I see this ad that comes on from Raucous Records and Mos Def's album coming out, and I thought to myself, like, oh shit, those white CEOs of 411 understood. Damn, hey, this is a good place to promote this. You're gonna reach maybe the community that loves you and cares for you. Maybe, possibly. But I don't think Talib Kweli and Mos Def, I don't think they knew, because they were just making hip hop music, you know, and they were on this label, and they were in there doing their own thing. But I don't think they understand the connection that they possibly had to skateboarding, and how many kids, like I said, like growing up in Billings, Montana, like, That's a predominantly white sport, white culture, if you will. But it didn't feel like that in Billings for us because there was just as many Mexican and Native. One black kid, and he got a lot of shit from his family about skateboarding. They would always tell him, "Oh, that's some white boy shit. That's some white boy shit." I don't give a fuck. He said, "Don't give a fuck." And Rashawn was one of the most brilliant skateboarders I've ever seen. Shawnee, that kid could fucking skate, you know. I remember kids like my good friend Sippy. Rest in peace. He just passed away not too long ago. But I once asked him, like, what's your favorite shit to skate to? And he was like, man, some hip hop shit, dude. He's like, man, the way that beat feels and you're hitting it, it just makes you want to fuck that whole fucking beat up. Like as if you were a rapper, but you did it with your skateboard. And I was like, shit, kid, that's for real. That's for real. And, you know, like if I was ever any good at actual skateboarding, like I was decent and I could pull some tricks off, whatever. It was passion for me. It wasn't to be the best. I knew I was never going to make it as a skateboarder. But if I were ever to have been able to, I would have to say the DJ Shadow would have been the one that, like, I would have skated to. And Derek Bessie is the one that turned me on to DJ Shadow. I was like, oh, dude, they're so dope. You're going to love them. Like, fuck, man, that's the shit, right? But the entire Montana skateboard scene was interesting to me. Like I said, I was such a late bloomer to it. I caught the ass into the late '90s and early 2000s, and we were still riding strong. I spent so many nights. I lived over in a street called 23rd Street, and there was a group of guys that hung out over there. Me, Derek Bessie, Steve Nickel, James Peach Bogus. I'm gonna call him Peaches. His cousin, and for the fucking life of me if I can ever remember his cousin's name. And then a group of other guys, a guy named Matt and his older brother that lived down the street. We all skated. And we spent so many nights, like I would get off work and I would go home and then we'd grab our skateboards and head out. And we would spend all night just skateboarding. And if we were lucky, somebody would have a boombox they would bring with them. We'd be down the Park 3 skate. It wasn't even a skate park. It was just a parking garage called Park 3. And I think it was probably one of the most favorite places to skate. It just had a hip and a little tiny pad that was kind of a ledge, if you will. It wasn't anything spectacular in any way or form. Phenomenally amazing to us. And we skated that thing all night. And we would skate and skate and skate. Like I said, if we were lucky, somebody would bring a boombox with them, you know. And then it was really on because we got to listen to music and skateboard. And I want to know, like, who was the first person to say, I don't want to skateboard to all that punk rock and whatever Aerosmith or whatever the fucking garbage shit it might be. Like, I like hip hop music and this is what I want to skate to. And they went out and did their line and they were like, boom, put it to this. I want to know who that dude was. I'd love to interview that dude because that would be amazing. I feel like that is something phenomenally great. The connection is heavy and high, and I think as skateboarders in general, we look at this thing and we see how commercialized it has become. But we look at it and we go, it wasn't that for us. It was getting out there and being on that board and riding and hanging with my friends and homies, and just nobody had a bit of racism in him in general, you know. We was just like, bro, like if you can skate, you can skate. I remember the first time I started dating my wife, and I meet her little sister, and her little sister wants to start skateboarding. I'll teach you how to skateboard. Cool. I went out and I taught this kid how to skateboard, and then she became one of the most phenomenally great female skateboarders. And when I say it wasn't the fact that she was a female in any way or form, because she did not compete on that level. She looked at herself like, I don't want to be a great female skateboarder. I want to be able to outskate every one of these dudes right now. I want to be the dude, the girl who can fuck their world up with this shit. And she did. And she was fucking amazing. I was actually there in California when we were on vacation when she had tore her ACL, I do believe. And that was a sad day because she knew as well as I knew, and as any great skateboarder knew, like that's like career ending. You're not gonna be able to skateboard the way you did, and things are gonna be hard for you. And even if you continue skating, it's gonna be rough and it's gonna be painful. And that was a sad day because of the realization of that. And me and her have had many conversations about that. Like, damn, that day was sad for her because she's never got to step foot on a skateboard again, really. You know, a little bit here and there. She can ride it, but she knows damn good and well she ain't shredding that thing like she did back then. No, she ain't gonna. But phenomenally great skateboarder. At some point, I'll have an interview with her because I think her influence on the Billings skateboard scene is important in itself. And with this entire documentary that I'm trying to do is, I guess, our connection with hip hop music, because I can really truly only be relatable to the scene that I grew up in, and the skateboard scene in Billings, Montana was huge. Like, it was fucking huge. I think skateboarding touched more kids like me and ghetto kids in Billings than anything else. You know, shit, I'd like to believe it touched more than drugs. That's probably not true, but hey, you know. But it was a safe haven for us. It was a place for us to be, a place for us to skate. You know, I remember when they built the skate park in Billings, and I was like, I don't like this. It just didn't feel like street shit to me. I grew to love it. I grew to love it. I remember that first week of that motherfucker being open, though. I had a trunk full of beer because I was the only one with the fake ID. Like, we was just getting fucked up skating the skate park. Like, just chilling. Everybody was there, though, you know. Like, everybody's fucking there. And it was pretty fucking amazing. Motherfuckers brought out their stereos and shit. Like, boom, just listening to great music and skating. Like I said, a lot of hip-hop being played and blared out from speakers while we're skateboarding. Just, it is something so amazingly beautiful to me. I really couldn't put my finger on why it was so amazing. Because I don't know if it was just the connection of skateboarders who connected through this piece of wood, or if it was that it seemed to be such like a poor man's sport. Like, poor ghetto kids be skating, you know? Like, don't get me wrong, like, there's one or two rich kids out there that was like skating and shit, and they were all, most of them were pretty fucking decent. They had all the top line gear, the great shoes, all that shit, you know? But maybe for them it was when they stepped down into this world, like, they didn't get treated like, oh, you just some rich kid. Nah, like, you skate? You good? Alright then. Shit, show me what you got. And that was brilliance of skateboarding and every bit of what it was. There was so much, like I said, we didn't see racism in the skate scene. Like, you didn't, like, you could be black, white, Asian, Native American, fuck, it didn't matter. Like, you fucking ride a skateboard, fucking ride that shit. Ain't nobody give a fuck. Like, you one of the homies now, you know, because you ride a skateboard. Like, you are just, you're part of it, and you'll always be that. And I got friends that I met skateboarding from when I was younger and shit. Like, of all colors, and I'm like, we're still good, you know. Like, I can step to that person tomorrow, and be like, what's up, bro? They friends, they're homies, you know, because we skateboarded together, and that's the beauties of skateboarding and what it is, and the passion that it brought. Now, what I really want to find is that connection between hip hop and skateboarding. Because I think there was so many of us that were like, we fucking loved hip hop music. We love fucking skateboarding. That's what we skated to. Like, I mean, you know, when MP3 players and iPads are, well, they fucking, it wasn't an iPad, it was a fucking iPod Classic. See, there it is. When iPod Classics and those came out, they was like revolutionary to a skateboarder, because like, dude, this shit didn't skip in my backpack no more. Like, fuck, I can put my music on, I can fucking listen to any fucking thing I want to, as long as I went to my computer and I put all this music on here. But goddamn, I'll tell you what, I spent mad hours doing that shit. 80% of it was like dope hip hop shit, like records, like digging through, going to Hastings and buying records and putting them in and putting them on my computer so I can make the perfect skate mix. Like, this is what I want to listen to. Like, I don't even label it in there like that, like skate mix. Oh, grab that. That's what I listen to. And I would say 90% of it was skate, was hip hop music. You know, like I mean, if you've ever skated to Tribe Called Quest, then you would understand. But in conclusion, like I said, I will be doing more interviews with some other people, but I figured I might as well start with myself and kind of tell my story and where I came from, and my connection to hip hop music, and how I got turned on to skateboarding and hip hop music, and how they had a deep connection to one another, and that's mine. Like, you know, I'll be speaking with quite a few other people from the Billings area, because, like I said, I feel like this has to be a 2-part documentary where I kind of showcase how we were influenced, and the people that influenced me and kids I grew up with. And, you know, guys like Victor Hernandez is someone I want to get on here. I'd like to get Jason Corbridge, Pat Bird, Damon Burns, Pablo Gonzalez, Mike Law, Ryan Ferguson, and the list continues and continues, because there's so many of them that had such a great influence and really are brilliant individuals, especially with the skateboard underneath them. Ashler Bear Crane's another guy I'd like to get on here and talk, because he came from kind of the younger generation, but he's also from California, and there's an interesting idea that I'm playing with, and the idea of like, I want to see what coast had the biggest influence on skateboarding when it comes to hip hop music, because I personally feel like New York was the biggest influence. But I've talked with a friend of mine, and he was like, oh man, I think it's equal. Like, Dell came before Wu, and guys out in San Francisco and the Bay, like, they were skating to Dell, and guys like that out there. And, you know, the biggest influence for him was Gino Ianni and the Snuff Films with Method Man. And, like, you know, and several of my friends said the same thing. That's the one that got me. Like, that's the first, like, hip-hop track I ever heard. But, you know, once they'd heard it and they got the bug and they dug deeper into it and they started watching those other skate videos and they heard the music and shit like that, then you really put a timeline to it and you go, damn, like, okay, Dell was way before that. So I really would be interested in what he has to say. Coming from California, he's from Montana and moved to California. Lived in California a long time. Moved to Billings. He's from the Crow Reservation. Moved to California. Come to Billings. He actually met my good friend Sippy. And he tells a good story about Sippy, how he met him. And I honestly wonder what they were listening to on the day they skated for the first time. Because that's got to be an amazing one. That's about all I got for now. Hopefully this is a good documentation of what I'm trying to do and where I'm starting with. Like I said, I can only tell my story at the moment. I'll have more deep dives into the others.